1 and 2 and 2 and 1 and... Oh, shucks, I can't dance.
Hello, welcome to Up and Go with Muffins. I'm Daniel, and with me is my co-host Ethan.
Hello
Welcome,
again.
Ethan.
Yeah, thanks for the warm welcome, Dan. And we also have a special guest this time.
Yes, first-time guest.
Yeah.
Luke. Welcome, Luke.
It's Smook.
Hi everyone,
Yes, our special guest Smook.
back again.
Back again, and this time, not only do we have Up and Go, it's Up and Go blends. And we're drinking out of boxes, which I immediately, the first thing I said last podcast was how awful these things are. And so we got to see if that is redacted or not.
Yes, well, like I said, I enjoy boxes. I enjoy drinking out of a straw, so I'm in my element here.
That's interesting.
Straws just hit different, you know, like, you know how there's been all this stuff about, we got to use paper straws. I'm not even going to talk about how much I hate
paper straws. I feel passionately about this. Like, okay, the turtles need to be saved. We can all agree on that. But paper straws are not the way to do that.
Paper straws, you drink out of them for 10 seconds and they curl in at the top.
You know what I hate the most is getting a frozen drink with a paper straw.
That just doesn't sound like a
smart idea. That does not sound good. This is interesting. So we're drinking the new Up and Go blends. Currently we're drinking the banana and cinnamon flavor. So that says Up and Go blends, milk, oats, and fruit.
Yeah.
And
no added sugar.
Full house.
That's not bad for no added sugar.
Yeah, no, I actually didn't know that until I looked at that.
But that's what you get when you're drinking this. I can taste the fruit, I can taste the milk, and I can taste the oats.
That's good. See, I feel like that wouldn't be out of place if I bought it at a cafe. And like, if they didn't tell me it was Up and Go, and they just said, "You got like a banana and cinnamon smoothie for you," like some kind of like milk beverage.
I feel like you could even drink this.
No, because you can really taste like the. I don't really like any milk product that's warm. I'll be honest.
I feel like you could, but I also feel like you're a bit more caveman than the rest of us.
No, I mean like Milo though. I feel like
I'm not big on Milo.
I'd still rather have my Milo like hot or just hot.
That's what I meant by warm. Sorry, I meant heated.
Oh yeah,
I meant heated. I feel like you could drink this.
When you say
as a hot
like,
drink.
I like milk. I like it hot. Like I don't actively drink like a hot glass of milk before bed, but I don't mind it like hot or warm. I don't mind. I love cold milk. That's the way it should be. But when you make something, like, not to shoot myself in the foot, but when you make it lukewarm, it's just a bad thing.
Yeah,
anything.
no.
If you make something like, name me one thing that isn't awful at lukewarm temperature.
Oh, s'mores.
S'mores? I don't like s'mores.
Oh,
What?
really?
That's melted marshmallow.
Yeah, melted marshmallow, chocolate, and a graham
I just don't vibe with hot marshmallows, eh?
I guess you would count that as lukewarm, wouldn't you?
Yeah, because like so if you.
But that's not the point of it.
No, but like
it's lukewarm because you need it to melt, not you're eating it because it's lukewarm. You know, you don't. Yeah,
but it's still good.
You don't want to light it on fire, but you need enough heat.
What was I going to say about these yummy boxes anyway?
They're by Sanitarium.
Yeah. Shout out Sanitarium, our best friends, hoping to be best friends.
I'm just gonna DM
Can they
Sanitarium Facebook
Can they sue us for saying we're sponsored by Sanitarium if we're not sponsored by Sanitarium?
I reckon that's just not true.
I reckon unless we make a very very
that's true. If we said something controversial, and we're sponsored by Sanitarium, then
that's libel.
Yeah. Anyway, how are you guys doing? How are you doing, Ethan?
I'm doing pretty well.
I'm doing.
It's been for the last couple of days, but
last time we were talking, you were about to leave back to Christchurch.
Yeah.
Why has that not happened, Ethan?
You're a mean man. So we had a bit of a scuffle.
No, you don't have to talk about it if you don't want to.
But there's a bit of a scuffle on the way home, but it happened to be sort of a happy accident, if you will. And I'm back here for a couple of days, so we'll get some more podcast stuff.
Yeah, how much money you down?
That's a big oof.
Yeah, how empty is your pocket now?
Yeah. I'm glad I had my range.
How far did you actually get?
I got back to do you know the Kaimai Range heading over to Hamilton?
Yeah.
State Highway 29.
I wouldn't know State Highway.
Did you get? Oh no, you were on the Kaimai.
I was going down. I was just headed to Hamilton Flats.
Huh. Okay, so you actually made it a decent.
Yeah, about an hour 10. I'm glad.
I mean, still better than all the way, because what, you were going to Wellington to Ferry?
Yeah, Wellington
Yeah.
Ferry. And,
So it's still better than, you could have been a lot further when it happened.
Yeah, that's true. If the place is to have a prang, that's the better place.
Yeah.
Well, closer to home, the better, really. But
yeah, not too much you can do about it. But I'm home now, and now we get to talk about different things.
Yes. And you, Luke, how are you doing?
yeah, I'm doing well. Can't complain.
Have you had a shift on the ambulance since we last spoke?
No, I've
that's
got
a
one
shame.
coming up, but
We can't talk
sorts.
about any interesting...
Can't tell us about how someone slipped and hit
Well,
the head.
Legally, just a question while we're on this topic. Legally, are you allowed to?
It's not under.
Like, I know. Conversationally, surely you're allowed to, but like on a recorded podcast or something that would be going live, or is that kind of covered by
There's
patient
big-
confidentiality?
I think as long as it doesn't mention their name,
I'd have
it's
to
fine.
read up on that legislation. But even talking about it, we're not supposed to.
Mhm.
We're definitely, everyone does, but definitely no names, no addresses, no anything like that. But I'm sure I'd be able to say something like, "Yeah, I had a job where," and then kind of go and talk about
Someone
what
broke their
happened,
leg
but,
or whatever.
Or
Yeah.
bring up specifics, but nothing that's confidential. Like I wouldn't really bring up someone. I probably would talk about someone's extensive medical history, but not like where it can be narrowed down. You know,
No one has maybe sort of distrust I'm saying this in Air Bunny's quotes, like patients, professional confidentiality more than like everyone, all of my friends and family in the medical.
Wait, what? Sorry, no one has mistrust.
No, I just inherently mistrust it because it's confidential, but at the same time, like everyone I know is like, man, check out this story I've got.
No, but yeah. Still, but even so, like I've never had someone tell me a story of a patient and give me a name. Even.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
It's
I have.
I don't think you care about the name. Like it's just a story. Like I don't know. If I had something like embarrassing medical happen to me, most of the time, if it's like worthy of a story, it means it's like exceptional, which means if it goes around, people are gonna know.
Well, define embarrassing. I haven't been to a job myself, but I have a whole array of stories of people having things shoved up where they shouldn't be, and very weird things like that.
Oh yeah.
But,
like our friend Sarah has some good stories about that.
Oh right, yeah, because
No,
she's in radiology.
She does X-ray
and radiology
Yeah.
and stuff. Yeah. She gets some very nice.
She would be she would actually be an
Oh, we should
interesting
totally
guest.
get her on the podcast.
Yeah, and
We should
Absolutely.
totally get her on and we could do as the topic for the episode. We could do just
think
medical
we could.
stuff.
Yeah, things where they shouldn't be.
Things where they shouldn't be.
Play a
The
quiz.
story.
Play a quiz game. You know.
Should this be there? Yes or no?
We could contact her office and get like a bunch of X-rays that she's seen, and then like get some fake ones, and then she has to guess which ones are which ones are a real X-ray.
No,
which
see,
ones are
I
doctored.
feel like they wouldn't be able to give us.
No, but we could get them off the internet, like random ones, and just like she has to guess which were actual X-rays and then which are just sort of memes.
I feel like that's a good idea. Sarah, you should contact us after you've listened to this episode, and you should
Absolutely.
listen to this episode.
I'm 0800 up and go.
No,
Hopefully
don't,
soon to be
don't ring that
sponsored by.
as our number.
I don't know if that's a real number.
You have to really make sure we emphasize the and not the and.
Yes,
I remember
up and go.
Yeah.
Up and go. I remember being a kid and like Pizza Hut would be like, ring 0800 Pizza Hut or whatever, and I was like, huh? There's no letters on the phone.
It was 0800.
8383. I know, but I
what?
was thinking of Pizza Hut.
And then what did they change it to?
They've changed it?
A long time ago, mate.
Oh, no.
At least 5 years ago.
This is not good. What have they changed it to?
Not a pattern, I don't think. Like
No, it wasn't a
0800.
pattern. It was always a song. Let's be real.
No, yeah, it's still no, it's not. It's still 0800 83 83 83.
Maybe I'm thinking of Life FM. Life FM also had something like that, I think.
Right.
I don't
Why
know.
would you change it?
I could just be
0800?
crazy. I might just be crazy. Anyway, talking of topics, we do have a topic for this episode.
Do we?
Yes, we do. Yes, we hadn't informed you, Luke, since you're a guest and coming on here for the first time.
And you're not the special admin.
The idea for this
Damn.
topic was hypothetical situations
and responses to them.
and our individual responses to those situations.
We kind of thought it'd be interesting in the sense that it's not going to be. We didn't want it to be just sort of like, if you could have a superpower, what superpower would you have?
Yeah, not the boring. Not the boring ones that you always get asked.
I like superheroes. What do you mean boring?
No. But so I kind of got a question, but I need to sort of fine. I want to discuss the setting.
Okay, while you think of the words, I just cracked open the other Up and Go blends. We've got the cocoa and almond one, and that is
that banging.
I don't really like I said last time, I don't really like chocolate flavored stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But this is it's not chocolate so much as it's just the cocoa and the almond.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
You can really, really get the almond. It tastes, imagine it kind of tastes like you've had a bowl of Cocoa Pops and you're drinking the leftover milk, except there's more powder. There's
You're
more
exactly right.
Imagine take some Cocoa Pops and pound them up so there's a bit more of a bit more.
You know what I do?
Grain in the milk. It tastes like that, but a bit more healthy. Oh, my favorite part of having Nutri-Grain or Nesquik or something is overfilling the bowl, eating the cereal and drinking the milk.
I will add rice bubbles in there afterwards.
Hold on. Ethan just said Nutri-Grain's bad.
I don't think it tastes like
know he
but
did.
Sugar.
And I'll slap him later, but I want to tell my story. No, it's
okay,
not.
We'll beat him up off podcast.
It's not an
just
interesting
the wrong
story.
mentality. Anyway, go on.
I'll make my Cocoa Pops checks or something, and there will always be leftover milk at the end of it. And so I'll just add rice bubbles in there and, eat that, because then you just get the flavouring of the Cocoa Pops, the leftover flavouring, but using the rice bubbles, so you can save Cocoa Pops for later.
I think what I always liked with my rice bubbles was honey and fruit.
I never had honey with cereal.
Really?
That's interesting.
I had
but you don't eat Nutri-Grain, so I'm just going to ignore any breakfast advice you have.
I had a very
I eat it. I just don't like it.
I had a very strict way I used to eat my wheat bix. I'd always put a green kiwi fruit in there.
That's interesting. Did you ever have hot water in Wheat Bix?
Yeah, I was about to bring that up.
No,
that's a big staple of my breakfast growing up.
Yeah,
hot water, butter too.
I never did butter.
You're essentially making a cake at that point.
No, hot water. You put the butter and you set it on kind of like how you would with a pancake, or at least how the advertisements always do it.
Right.
You let it sit there, it melts into it. Sugar. Delicious, mate.
Brown or white? It's got to be brown though, surely. See,
just raw.
Raw sugar.
Like coffee sugar?
No, coffee sugar is different. Just raw.
Raw sugar's like
white,
brown sugar,
raw,
but a little
brown.
less, a little less chunk.
Yeah.
Raw sugar is acceptable, but I think brown sugar was a superior sugar topping.
If you're having porridge, you got to have brown sugar.
So I actually like raw sugar. Oh no, I like
soft brown though. You've got to have the soft brown.
Anyway, we've gone completely away from hypothetical situations.
Hypothetically speaking, if you could only pick one sugar to have.
So Ethan, you had a question you wanted to do some setup for though.
So it's a situation in every one of us here is, and feel free to play along at home. I don't know if we have a comic. If we have a way to just leave a review.
Let us know.
We'll make an Instagram. I'll make an Instagram. I'll make an Up and Go with Muffins Instagram.
Leave a 5-star review telling us your answer to the hypothetical move.
And we'll read it out next time.
Yeah.
Anyway, your question, Ethan.
Yeah, so we're each cursed to die in 5 years. And when we die...
Sorry, say that again?
We're each cursed to die in 5 years.
I hope so.
Yeah. No,
just kidding.
And when our time is up, we'll be transported to another world in a sense that is like this. This is why I can't... It's similar to... We'll be transferred to about 1500 AD. I'm trying to
500 years ago.
Yeah, 500 roughly, years ago,
right?
More or less. And I'm trying to decide the similarity, to the degree to which you can have maybe magic or something.
Oh, so there's something that would make it more of a fantasy, such as magic or
different species. I'm trying to decide between high and low fantasy. So I think I'm leaning closer to low fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's a bit more interesting.
Which is low fantasy. Just remind me, is the same world but with added amenities.
Low fantasy is more resemblant of this world than it's more resemblant of a history drama with sort of stuff that is regulated. No, that's a bad word. It's just sort of it's more. It resembles this world closely, where high fantasy tends to be in a completely different world. Mm-hmm. Where this is, we're almost turning back the clock and then tweaking. But the question is, what would you do in these upcoming 5 years to set yourself up for your next life? Because you'll be the same age, right? So 5 years would be what? You'll be 26, right? So in this new world, we'll say actually we're the same age now, right?
Okay.
So
we go into the new world as if we.
So it's a continual cycle. Wait, so In 5 years' time, we're gonna die.
Complicated.
5 years this timeline that I'm currently living. So I'll be 25, almost 26.
Yeah.
I'm gonna die, restart life in some other time zone back a bit, and I'm also cursed to die again in 5 years.
But
No,
I mean,
okay.
that could be
that would make
that's a
it too
different
complicated.
question. But
Okay,
because the question is like, what would you do, learn and prepare now so that you could either, I don't know, do whatever you want. I mean, you could topple monarchs and set the human history on a different course, or or you could just like live very comfortably with a couple wives.
So specifically the 1500s? Or
Yeah, that kind of time period. You know, like you're talking sort of middle of the Dark Ages. Is that
I thought-
1500s?
Medievalish?
Yeah.
Can I interject? I'm pretty no 1500s. No, 1500s was when Columbus discovered America.
When was the Renaissance? Wasn't that the 1600s?
I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me, but I swear it was very early 1500s is when
I want to get better
when
at
Columbus landed on the shores of America.
See, I've never been interested in history really. I like the different things that were going on. Like, I like the medieval ages, or I like back when westerns were kind of that type of stuff.
1492 is when he landed.
The period of the Renaissance was, according to Wikipedia, is the 1300s to the 1600s. So yeah, we're in the Renaissance.
Yeah.
In the Renaissance.
Yeah.
Okay, what did they do in the Renaissance?
I don't know. You see the Renaissance garden at Hamilton Gardens, right?
Oh, yeah.
Imagine that.
I mean, they probably did have multiple.
Anyway,
guys
that's
in the
irrelevant.
Renaissance
That's
area.
irrelevant. I think we're more talking about what we would do in the next 5 years.
I feel like I would set up some sort of I wouldn't try anything big. I wouldn't try anything like massive big. I wouldn't try and like you said, topple any monarchs or anything, or diverge the course of human history.
Well, that's a good point. Let's say you also get to choose where you get to go, because
like what era of time?
No.
Or where?
Geographically, because 1500s here.
And no one really
Nothing
knows
here.
what was going on here.
When
just
was,
eat
because
my
New Zealand was
mower in half
really
to see
became
it.
into its own thing around the 1800s,
We're
right?
only we're not that old.
We're only like 200, if that, I think.
I wouldn't even say that. I don't think.
In terms of because I'm not too pre-1800s history, or even pre-17s. No, not much is known really, is it?
No.
Because we just don't have the same
England.
Yeah.
I would go England.
Filth dump though.
No, I was gonna say I would start a gang, like some sort of street gang, right?
You want to go
Can we
like
just
London?
clarify?
Yeah, like
Do
London, a London street gang.
Are we?
A 1500s London street gang. I'm
What's
sure
the
they
one?
had those, and I would.
And before London isn't even founded.
No,
When was London founded?
England's old as, bro. Old as.
Yeah, but London wasn't wasn't it?
Tower of London, late 15th century. The only towns with a population over 10,000 were Norwich, Bristol, Newcastle, and London. So London was around.
Okay.
The city of London had a population of 60,000. London was definitely around. I'm sure they would have had street gangs in London.
No,
There would have been a lot.
Surely the play would be pump it forward a bit and go to America and the mafia and stuff. That would be.
Oh, so if we're doing a different era, if we're doing where was the mafia?
There's nothing in the 1500s,
990s.
1800, surely.
The mafia.
I don't know. Whenever the cars were invented, they had to wait till the cars.
With the
There was
Tommy
one
guns.
guy who was there, like, "Hey Tony, should we start a gang?" They're like, "Nah, cars ain't been invented yet. We can't get away."
What's a car?
Yeah.
The whole town that
Westerns were
crumbles on itself.
late 1800s.
Yeah, it's true. You're right. You're right. Westerns were 1800s, so
I'm all right with
Kind of
recent history. It's as
mafia
soon as you
stuff
get
would have
past
been-
the
That's
1800s,
because
I'm
nothing
just
happened. It was all
so.
just dark and dingy and stinky
honestly,
and gas.
if I just died in 5 years' time, I knew I was going to die and get transported to another time era. In that other time era, I'm starting a gang.
No, yeah.
I don't care where it is.
Let's work about this methodically. The whole where you go is irrelevant for now. You've got 5 years left on this earth. What are you doing?
Starting a gang. Maybe not starting a gang, but joining a gang that already
you
exists.
understand
What, the
how-
mongrel mob?
No. No.
My mate got tattooed by the mob.
Did I ever tell you, Ethan? I'm sure you know about it, Luke. But Ethan, did I ever tell you about our incident with the mongrel mob?
You may have.
We were going to.
Let's not piss the mongrel bug off.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I won't. But just briefly, we were coming back from Armageddon. We were in the van, and we had a bunch of people in the back. We had my nephew and Luke's younger brother Joel. We had Gabby and
What
her
year
younger
was this?
sister
Last
Hannah.
year?
Last year or the year
Must be
before.
last year.
I think last year. Anyway, we're pulling into the petrol station, and someone like almost goes to cut us off, but it's just a slight bit too slow, and so like Miriam pumps on the brakes, and he pumps on the brakes, and he's like beeping the horn at us, and anyway, so we go to pull in, and we go to pull into a petrol pump spot, and they purposely go for the same spot, and like get angry at us, and they come out of the car and like threatening us and everything. Nothing happened. Eventually,
patches. Like, how do you know that one mob?
because they said so.
Oh.
They could not. They could have not been. They could have been, just saying that to try and scare us.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, that's irrelevant.
That's not really a gang. That's a mob.
Yeah. No. I think if
You're like the charming, like sort of like teenage, like up to no good gang.
I'm the like street gang, just like clicking my fingers.
like the,
You're the guys who like steal the. You're the reason that there's always shopping carts all over Auckland.
I'm the gang with like the spring loaded comb. Just just like combing my hair. No.
Robbing
straight
like
out
a
of
dairy
Greece.
or elastic band guns.
Oh, actually, if we went to Western, so if we went to 1800s America, right, Western era,
go to 1500.
No. We'll just
Stop the 1500.
we'll just okay. In general, I think if we're putting my religious beliefs aside, because if I'm being reincarnated, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Anyway, but if that's happening, I think I would want to join a gang and rank up the ranks and experience gang life, especially
Gang.
later gang life. Yeah, not nowadays gang life. There's no way I'd ever want to be in a gang nowadays.
Because like, look, here's the thing: you start in the 1500s, but I forgot to mention a pretty important thing, which is that you're immortal from that period on, right?
So we keep the knowledge that we have now.
Yes, that's why what you do in these. So it's like, what are you doing in these next 5 years to prepare you for the 1500s onwards? So like you can then like live your life there.
Oh, if I know
No,
that.
what am I doing in these 5 years now before I die?
Yeah. So, so that you can do what you want. So in your situation, it might
Okay,
be
I
like-
would study what the street life was like in the 1500s.
Yeah.
No, I would. So these next 5 years, I would work out. I would work the heck out.
Yeah.
Okay, if I knew in 5 years' time I was going to die and go to the 1500s, I'd be like, okay, I want to start a gang. I want to, not start a gang. I want to be some sort of mobster type person, right?
You want to knock on Leonardo
And
da
I
Vinci's
would-
door.
Yeah.
Where's the money, Leo?
I would definitely be a lot more. Like I'm trying to work out a bit more now, because I'm.
Were people shorter back in the 1500s? You would be quite tall. Like, I mean, you're not short. They're like
Probably right.
because like the 1500s, there's a lot of malnutrition going on, and so you'd probably be taller than a lot of guys. Because isn't it true like the average height of a soldier was like 5'6"?
I wouldn't know that.
Like like you're considered
5'6". Yeah,
That's
so
tiny.
that'd make me 6 inches taller.
Yeah.
That's
7
half a
inches taller
foot.
almost.
Yeah.
I'm just under 6'1".
Yeah.
So, almost half a foot taller.
Yeah.
You'd be like pretty imposing as a gang leader.
Yeah, but I think I would definitely. And I was going to die in 5 years, go back to the 1500s, become immortal. Yeah, I would spend these 5 years working out, getting a good body shape. Not like a not not like a bodybuilder's body shape.
Not
Yeah,
gonna like Arnold
but like
Schwarzenegger.
a strong body shape, right? Like an imposing body shape.
Well, I'm making a noise real quick.
Luke there was just finishing off his up and go blend, cocoa and almond.
Very good. Sanitarium's latest product in the Up and Go line.
I do quite like them actually. I think they're quite nice.
I like that one better, the cocoa.
The cocoa and almond. It does taste like the end result
Residue
after you've had
cereal
Cocoa
milk.
Pops.
Anyway,
Yeah.
1500s,
Cereal.
you're a gang, and see, like that would be
Gang,
totally
gang.
cool to like turn it because you're like the immortal leader. Like you're like it's kind of like Ra's al Ghul in that sense, like the
Well, I know that name.
Batman,
Batman. He's the guy that trained Batman.
the League of Shadows.
Oh,
The
You ever watched
Assassins.
Arrow?
no.
Really, Flash?
Yes.
Yeah. Then you've seen the Arrow crossovers.
Oh, I've seen some of them.
I wanted to watch the latest one.
I recognize his name. So.
Yeah.
The latest Arrow crossover was a big one. So it was a crossover with Arrow,
Hey, no
Flash, Legends of Tomorrow. It's not spoilers, just saying it was crossovering with Supergirl.
And then they all die.
It even had so Constantine's in Legends of Tomorrow now. He's a
is he?
He's a permanent part of the team now. It even went to Lucifer, the show Lucifer. And it wasn't a crossover. It was one scene in one of the episodes of the crossover. They go to Lucifer to get his help to go.
I forget this is
one of the underworlds. Batgirl. Batwoman. What's the new show called? Is it Batwoman or Batgirl?
I don't know, bro.
Probably Batwoman.
Let's say Batwoman.
Ruby Rose.
And it had even like the original actor playing Superman from Smallville.
Smallville.
Had the Smallville Superman actor. It even had the guy who plays the Atom playing Superman again, because he used to play Superman. Essentially, it was like a 9-10 universe crossover. It was
pretty neat.
It was quite cool. I saw clips from it, and I was like, man, I wish they still had it on NZ On Demand.
Yeah.
To watch. Anyway, that was a little offshoot rant.
Yeah.
I'd be the immortal Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I think it'd be fun to set up a gang that early, and it almost would. If I was immortal and the leader of it, it would almost turn into a cult.
And it's very much in the sense of immortal in the fact that you don't die of like sickness or old age, but if you like get into a stupid fight,
If I get shot in the head, I'm dead. Yeah. But it would almost turn into a cultish type thing in the way that I would almost be this like kind of figure that like people would be like, yo, have you heard that the boss has been around for like 1800 years or whatever?
See, I feel like reading like a bunch of like H.P. Lovecraft or Edgar Allan Poe or some of those poets, would be like a good way to like kind of
get used to being immortal.
in a way, but like to have like if you wanted to have like a cult, like that type of thing, like that.
Ethan, let me tell you, both of those two people you mentioned are both dead. They do not have the knowledge of immortality.
Damn.
No, but I mean they've got a very cult following, so the books are heavily about cults. And, I mean, more.
No, I wouldn't want to start a cult, but I was saying it would almost
turn into one.
It'd be impossible if I was immortal for it to not turn into a cult.
Right.
And I think it would be cool to have the same gang, I'm doing air quotes, throughout the years.
I suppose you could be a pirate as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
see, would that have been? Yeah, they would have had like corsairs in the 1500s.
Yeah,
like pirates.
Yeah, because Christopher Columbus was like doing those things around the 1500s, right?
Yeah.
Something like that.
But that's I think what I would want to do is do some sort of gang thing.
Awesome. Lucas. Smokus.
I think if I had 5 years to live and I was going to be reincarnated in the 1500s, I would probably... Yeah, I'd set myself up for success. I think what I would do is I would just hard out study. Just take out hundreds and thousands of dollars of debt because I don't need to worry about it. And just study rocket science, study quantum physics, study quantum mechanics, study just every little thing and how to do it all with nothing as well.
Right.
So then when I get back to that time, I can essentially go, okay, this is what I need to do to be able to do this stuff. And then be so just knowledgeable about electricity and quantum stuff and particles and all that kind of thing that I can go back there and go, right, time to become essentially indestructible. And then...
Do you think 5 years is enough?
If I really put my mind to it...
5 years is enough for a master's.
Yeah, you
okay,
can...
Okay,
Just, and even so...
True, if you dedicated your time to it.
I should explain that.
Plus, bear in mind, I'd be abusing the system to work to how I wanted to as well. Like, I wouldn't be doing one paper and everything and getting a degree. I'd be aiming at just understanding and having access to all the resources to be able to study.
Yeah, and for any American listeners, because we have a different education systems, it's like 7 years to get your master's, and because they've got a four. No, I think it's 6 years. But they've got a 4-year bachelor's. See, in New Zealand, we've got a 3 years bachelor's, a 1 year's for your honours, and then 1 year's for your masters.
Yeah. So I don't care so much about the actual qualifications.
Yeah, no. I was just saying. I was saying the level of study,
getting the knowledge or having access to the knowledge.
Right. So I see what you're saying. So you could
pretty much just figure out how to. I've spent 5 years basically becoming a super genius, and then when getting transferred back, I have all this knowledge. I should, in theory, be able to go. Right, I know how to build a power station.
You know how to build a generator, yeah.
Time to get my thing going, and then just work, pretty much start at the bottom, and then build an empire that way. Eventually, then say I go with pirating. My ship's fitted out with flipping photon cannons at this point.
Yeah, but when you get there, you've got nothing. No
Yeah,
papers.
but that's why
that's
I
what he was
study
saying.
how to
Yeah.
start from the bottom and work my way up.
Yeah, it's a bit so then what is like as of like your current knowledge you're given now, what do you think? What do you think
I
you'll start doing?
know how to I know I can rub stuff together to cause electricity, but all the
No,
parts.
you've got you got to eat and live. That's what I mean.
Oh,
Like basic
rape,
survival.
pillage, and destroying.
He could build a power generator, sell people power for food.
Yeah, with no
Then-
infrastructure.
What do you mean?
But
Like,
you
that's
got-
what he's
you
saying.
really-
he wants to study.
it's
No.
Really,
he wants
really,
to study.
Really start at the absolute. Study how to get by. Study how to generate power. How to do all this stuff. So once I get there with nothing, I know the things that I do need to create
Yeah, but
to start building infrastructure.
Yeah, you know that, but in the meantime, you have to worry about like sleeping, eating, and not starving,
I don't
and,
sleep,
and
eat, or
acquiring
starve at the
materials
moment.
to do that.
So.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this-
but still, I'd
this
study
is
enough stuff that I'd
Renaissance.
be able to get by.
Yeah, that's true.
Plus, I'll just take a gun with me, easy peasy.
No, you can't take anything with
I
you.
can't take anything with me.
He could just make a gun. He's got the knowledge.
Yeah,
He's on the
easy
streets
peasy.
of wherever
No,
you
not
place
really.
him.
So
you'll find-
you're
I'd
very-
rats
also
and
do a lot
stuff.
of study on the 1500s and figure out what life was like back then.
yeah. So,
On the meat, so
See,
very much.
But that wouldn't even take a year.
No, that would just be on YouTube, reading Wikipedia.
see, like the big thing for me would be my plan is kind of similar, but I take more of a sort of guiding humanity approach, where I think would be
So you'd take a more real. You'd do the same thing as him, and then like spend your 5 years studying, but in a more realistic.
yeah. So I would go real hard into agricultural.
Okay.
and, germ
Yeah, I see what
theory.
you're saying.
And take that, and in a counterintuitive way, what I would also do is I would read up on the tobacco industry, because you've got to have money when you get there, and I feel like sure you're going to cause a lot of cancer by like
Just
jump
do
starting the
the-
tobacco, but by doing that you essentially it's a real easy way to get the capital needed to then
Just do
advance the
what
good
the
things.
English did when they took over China. Get on the opium market. No, but see, the thing I'd be
Drugs,
aiming
everyone.
I'd be aiming to take over the world, essentially.
I love me and Luke are like, we want to be big, like
Yeah.
mass. I'm like, I'm gonna be, a gang leader. Eventually, it will turn into a cult, pretty much, and I'll be a god
I'd pretty
worshipped by
much
them.
wanna-
And Ethan's like, I think I'll start a farm.
So see, for me, the first few years would be hard because it would be adjusting thingamajig, getting the base foundation of Renaissance life, and then beginning to evolve that into
Yeah.
what it would be now. So it would take. It's not just an overnight in the garage build a generator sort of thing, because, like you said, you need infrastructure for that.
But you also said we're immortals and we can't die from sickness. So can we die from starvation?
Ooh, I would say not having your
Oh,
basic
okay,
needs.
okay.
Because
You
like,
just
there's a
probably-
difference.
I was kind of going by the like my version of mortality is you can only die by like an outside.
Because, like, see, the thing is, like, if you were sick, you would have to also assume that when you transport back, you had the immune system of a person of the 1500s, because otherwise you'd, like, instantly die, or you would start causing a lot of problems because of how disease and germs and what work.
Okay, yeah.
And so,
Right, it's into-
so that's why I just said you can't, like, you're not affected by sickness, which essentially means you're immune to the Black Plague as well,
Ooh,
like
that's
all
a
those
good
like
way to
nasty
rise up
plagues
the
and the
shadows.
great
When was
fires.
that? That was the 1700s, wasn't it?
The Great Plague was
The Black Plague.
17th century, not the 1700s.
Trust me, 200 years between the 15s and the 1700s, I'd have gotten far enough.
I don't know.
Exactly, and if you have a good understanding of history, if I've got my things sorted out, like, initially, like, especially with the world wars and this, once you've built your little empire, like, I wouldn't be aiming to take over the world,
wow,
but I'd be
no.
going,
That's way.
alright, World War One or the Black Plague, is all this death's happening, people got to turn to me for the cure, because I know how to do it.
You could become
The
like
Black
a
Plague
prophet.
is essentially, not SARS, that's the other one.
Nostradamus.
The Black Plague was 1347 to 13.
Oh, wait, was that way earlier? I'm thinking of the Spanish flu then.
What's like the one in London around like this, the
Black Plague was in London. It was big in London.
The Black
No,
Plague.
I'm thinking about the one like the 1600 one.
The Spanish flu? When was that?
If you
SARS or whatever
search
it was.
Big London Plague, I'm sure.
I
it will
think
come up with
the
Black
Great
Plague.
Plague of London. That's what it
Oh.
was called. I
When was the Great Fires of London?
That was 1960s. It was
Oh,
it was
okay,
like
that wasn't
within a
in
couple of years of each other.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. See, but yeah, so I think I would like go big into like I wouldn't share this stuff. Like so, in a sense, I would become the best at farming, and I would like become. yeah, so and you could do that thing. And,
So it would all be big in the different worlds. Luke would be the head of like the scientific research of the 1500s.
Which basically would put me in control.
Yeah, you would be big in the farming and food industry, lifestyle industry of the 1500s, and I would be big in the underworld.
Well, in a sense, because what I mean by this is like big things would be like scare at would be any advancements in maths and physics. Like I would try to just memorize them into the sense that you can write down like the core things from which they develop. Because the thing is, you're not going to remember most of quantum physics, but if you remember if you remember Pythagoras' proof, right? They're like, you don't need to remember the theorem if you know how to prove the thing, or you know how to do that in that same sense. So you learn those sort of skill sets to start with to get the things that, and then you get like gather the greatest minds to bring everything around and bring it up.
I think maybe not necessarily world domination, but I think my main goal would be have a little, maybe live in the shadows as well, but I'm a superpower essentially. And then do some more research on NASA and then figure out when NASA first started. I'd go to them and be like, okay, let's talk business.
Careful, Luke, you're alienating our flat Earth audience. No, but
I like the idea.
I'd go to NASA as they were starting and be like, right, I speak rocket science. Let's go to space and get this program, because we do have the funds to build a moon base right now, but no one government wants to invest $10 billion in that. I'd be going back with my super empire and going, okay, space travel it is. I wanted to colonize this stuff. I'd be Elon Musk, but of the 1500s.
I'd like the idea of us all being in the same timeline, though, and being the heads of those. We'd almost
we'd be Zeus, Pluto, and what's his name? Hades and Poseidon.
Yeah, that's true. You'd be Zeus. I'd be Hades. You'd be Poseidon because plants need water. Sure. Farmer Joe.
Yeah, but not. Because it would be in like military strategy, you've got to read up on military strategy and like basic like modern weapon blueprints. Yeah. Also, don't split the atom.
I was just sitting there going, I could probably learn how to split an atom. Take it back to the 1500s.
We don't need the Manhattan Project.
Did they have? Surely they had muskets then, right? In the 1500s, or was that even too early for muskets?
I think that's too early for muskets.
When was gunpowder?
Oh, okay.
I think it's
really
gunpowder was gunpowder was in China around.
Oh no, because Columbus had muskets.
Did he?
Yeah, surely they had muskets
surely.
in the 1500s.
Jesus, that sounds stupid. None of us study history. Okay.
Yeah, crossbows, muskets, swords, daggers. Obviously, they had daggers.
Early 16th century. So early 1500s. Yeah.
We're all interested in different things, but none of that really involves history. That goes
I'm good with like early history, like Roman history, right?
Oh yeah, same.
But like that whole European history between like from 500 AD to like 800 AD, I am just shockingly bad with.
Yeah.
No, do you know the history I'm interested in? So there's a series of games called Dark City series, I think, made by Facade Games. And they've got 3 games. They've got Salem. They all have a date allocated to them, but don't ask me what the date is. But they've got essentially Salem, Tortuga, and Deadwood. Yeah. I've got Tortuga and Deadwood, but I like specific histories on specific locations. So like Tortuga, was a port, and it was known for a lot of pirate activity and all that. Most people know it from the Pirates of the Caribbean movies.
Yes.
Of course. And Deadwood was a town where kind of the gold rush hit, and rail, what's it called? Like rail tracks were coming into town and everything, and people were all fighting over the gold that was struck there and everything. And I find those kind of things. The gold small rush. Stories, small. They call the Dark Cities, games because they're about like kind of dark, slightly gloomy stories. Salem is very dark.
Self-explanatory. The witch trials.
Yeah, the witch trials of Salem, which were dumb, by the way. It's like if she drowns, she was not a witch, but she'll be dead. If she floats, she's a witch, and we'll kill her another way. It's like either way, she dies.
Yeah, it's like you can see where I know that if she breathes, she's a thought comes from. Same story. Humans never change. Don't at me. It's the truth.
In a vein, like, because I was kind of thinking, like you've got steampunk, dieselpunk.
Ooh,
Dieselpunk's like
I've never heard of dieselpunk.
Dieselpunk's my favorite.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll bring up some images. Just
Oh,
for
no need. Tell us about it later, but... Diesel...
Don't worry about it either.
I've always liked... I think one of my favorite video games... I don't really know much about the rest of the series, but Bioshock Infinite, where you've got like that... The game's set in 1912, I believe, but it's like that... It's that future realistic, but... old.
I'm trying to
like Bioshock would be considered steampunk.
Yeah, it's steampunk. The city's all floating up on
yeah.
weird looking old style things with propellers that like it's not futuristic tech, but it's
But
tech
yeah,
that
but
we
the
don't
thing is,
have
like,
now.
you
It's
get
so
to
cool.
guide aestheticism in a certain way. So, like I really like dieselpunk.
I think I would. Yeah, actually, that's a good point. I would try and guide. And you said it's also, I almost forgot about this, but you said it is kind of lo-fi fantasy. So like,
I was thinking about magic and everything.
yeah. So I think I would try and guide if I had any effect. Okay, if we were all in the same timeline, like let's just say that because I think that's more fun.
Good
right? And we could collude together and talk about plans. I would say we should definitely try and guide it into steampunk.
Major in a different thing.
See, I think I could convince you on dieselpunk. I think you'd like dieselpunk better.
Well, okay, can you just give me a rundown on dieselpunk?
It's hard to like an image speaks 1,000 words.
Okay.
It's really hard.
Listeners, look up Dieselpunk while you're at it if you don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Because me and Daniel are about to learn something by the sound of it.
I've just never heard of dieselpunk. And you got cyberpunk, obviously.
Yeah.
But
It's a new
cyberpunk.
game with John Thingamajig.
Dieselpunk is kind of like
John, I'm missing
Keanu Reeves. Where'd you get John
I don't
from?
know, I was thinking of the name John.
I mean, all the images I'm seeing when looking up dieselpunk, it just looks like steampunk, but different.
But
it's
black
the
instead of
era,
white.
so it's like eight. It's
That's
like
from
nine.
Scythe, by the way. That's from a board game.
Is that? That's
That
cool.
is from Scythe, the board game.
Scythe is dieselpunk. Yeah, it's like First World War era type thing.
Okay. So dieselpunk's the same aesthetic as steampunk, but more the era of war. Okay, that makes sense. Yes, because technically steampunk is kind of Victorian era with steam.
It is Victorian, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like.
Okay, that's cool. I didn't know that had a term.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. Because I remember there's a few things like the Jetsons.
Scythe.
Yeah, Scythe. Like essentially that's the aestheticism I like.
I would love Scythe, but it's a very expensive game.
I know.
It's like, you're looking at like NZ 150.
What if you could? We'll just go on a quick tangent about board games quickly. If you could own any game, like what's a game, regardless of price, that you can't have but you want most of all?
Tricarian, and that's what the theme. It's. Have you seen The Prestige?
No.
Do you know The Prestige, Luke?
The movie?
Yeah, the movie.
Your favourite movie, though.
It is my favourite movie. But it's a movie about these two rival magicians, and they're fighting out, and it's kind of Victorian era. And the game Tricarion
How do you spell that?
Tricarion.
Yeah.
Trick.
Tricarion.
Yeah, Tricarion.
I was feeling like Chickarion.
Oh no! Tricarion. It's a game where you're playing magicians. It's not actually that expensive, but it's quite hard to get, and I mean it's like up in the 90s, 100s, 120, but it's almost always out of stock, and but it's the theme of the game is you're rivaling magicians. You and everyone else that's playing are rivaling magicians. You're all trying to perform the best tricks, and that theme just like that screams like a game I'd love, and it's worker placement, which is my favorite board game mechanic.
Because I saw you on your Board Game Geek profile. Blood Rage is up there.
Blood Rage, yes. Blood Rage is another game. Okay, Blood Rage is probably more expensive than Tricarion. So the theme of Tricarion screams for me more. But if I was going for a really big game, regardless of price, if I could get it for free, whatever, I probably would go for Blood Rage because it's a Simon game, which they make big, massive games that are expensive. It's got lots of miniatures.
Sorry, team.
Bless you, Luke.
What about Dungeons of the Mad Mage by have you seen that? Because it's got like 40 miniatures in it. And like,
trust me, Blood Rage has a lot more than 40.
Really?
Dungeons of the Mad Mage, I've not heard of that.
Yeah, it's a recent one by Wizards of the Coast.
Blood Rage would definitely be up there. Blood Rage is like it's Norse theme, so you're like playing as you each have a different Norse faction, and there's the different gods like Thor, Odin, Loki, that sort of thing. But you've also got like big, massive monster miniatures and everything.
That's cool.
Anyway, that was a board
Yeah,
game.
look,
tangent.
your aesthetic. Do tell.
What aesthetic?
Your favorite aesthetic? As in like the steampunk.
Steampunk, diesel punk. There's kind of one.
cyberpunk.
I think it's called like Nuketown, like that kind of stuff has a name, but I forget it.
Like the 1940s.
Yeah,
type?
yeah.
Maybe like the best
1940s.
Like post-apocalyptic 1940s.
Yeah, yeah.
That does have a name, I believe, but I
can't
wouldn't be able
remember. I
to
think it's
tell you
like
what
I know
that name
Nuketown's
is.
map on Call of Duty. No, I've always liked steampunk. When I was younger, especially, I was always like, oh man, that's so cool. But I'm not like, I don't like look at steampunk and go, oh man, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like I don't really know what my favorite aesthetic would be.
I want capes to come back,
I think if someone
like fashionable capes.
Okay, yeah, I can.
fashionable
Yeah,
capes.
Cape's cool.
Yeah.
Capes are cool, but in the words of Edna Mode, like, you know,
It'll really
she
reference the
really
girls.
she really scared me off capes because I've seen the movie Incredible so many times.
Yeah, I think capes can be cool, but I don't know.
Oh, actually, no, I'll change the subject again. Since we
Duster
kinda-
coats. I want duster coats to go back into fashion. You know, Western duster coats.
Oh yeah. What about? Here's a hypothetical. Because the thing is, we always say, "Oh man, that would be so weird if it was like if something was a particular way." That's just because it's not. If you know what I mean. So if something was a particular way, we'd be looking at what it is now and be going, "Oh man, that's so weird." What if humans had tails?
I mean, I think you both know my position on this.
Yeah. Would if say there's two options, you're either a human with or without, then it was perfectly normal and acceptable, not weird to have a tail. Do you think you would
Want one?
get one?
Oh wait, so it wasn't something you were born with?
It's a 50-50.
You get a pop up before you're born.
We'll say
And while you're sitting in the womb,
We'll
pops
say
up, would you like a
we'll
tail?
say it's a dominant gene, so you have more chance of getting it than not, but it is possible to be born with that one.
Okay.
And it's and then I personally, if I was gonna have a tail, it'd be like a fluffy cat one. I wouldn't get like a stupid rat one or something.
Okay.
Just to clarify, Lucas, not a furry.
I'm not a furry. No, I was just thinking.
I would get one, but I would definitely go for more like a monkey tail, like a actual
Practicality.
No, I would get. I've always said if I could get any addition to my body that worked and was like helpful and everything,
I'm good with that.
I'd get an extra pair of arms.
Ooh.
I would love to have an extra pair of
General
arms.
Kenobi.
No, more like Dexter Jexter.
Forearms from Ben
Jexter
10.
Dexter? No, I don't remember what his name is. You know, the guy at the restaurant in Star Wars #2.
Oh, that guy. Yes. I was about to say I have no idea, but
Yeah, the big guy. I think forearms could be helpful. I know some people are actually born with extra limbs, but they're just
that's
limbs that hang there. I mean, like
twin or something.
actual limbs that can do stuff and
Functional limbs.
so if I was going to get a tail, I would get a functional tail.
How
monkey's
good
tail.
would that be?
I think I'd go for something like a ring panda or a fox's tail.
So you guys are going for purely aesthetic.
No. Yes, but also no. Kind of more like. I'm not weird or anything. Don't worry. But like the kind of the.
Trust me.
I'm not a furry, but like think about it in more like a, kind of
Fashion
kind of sense?
That. So more like usefulness and the art of seduction.
What do you
Let's
guys
talk about like that. Like you've seen Puss in Boots, right?
Yeah.
Where like she's walking around, just flicking her tail.
up
How
the
good
nose,
would that be?
You're really making it hard for me to make you sound not like a furry.
No, I'm just saying.
Ooh, actually, you guys know that Nightcrawler from the X-Men?
Oh, yeah.
One of those kind of tails, like a reptilian
Ooh,
tail.
that wouldn't
So
be
you can
bad
still
either.
hang from it, but like also it looks cool.
I wouldn't mind having a hanging tail, but I think
Oh.
I'd rather go for the, the sexy fluffy one. How good would
Nah,
that
I
be?
would not care about aesthetics. But if I was going for aesthetics, no, I can't think of what
Oh,
I'd
come on, you've got to have a preference.
get. Bunny tail,
Bunny tail?
tiny little bunny tail.
Huh.
That's kind of cute.
No, that's dumb.
Yeah.
No, so I'm picturing.
What's that gonna do?
I'm
for
picturing
you?
it in my head. I'm thinking,
yeah.
no, that just looks
You
dumb.
probably
not
thought
gonna
of like
do
something
anything.
like on a girl that you've seen, and you're like, yeah, that's cute, but then
I was kind of thinking of Velvet from Ruby.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah.
haven't seen
But
that.
no, you're right.
No, if someone was like,
No.
hey, there's a new tail program in this shit, do you want to be like, flip no. But like, if it was something,
But if it was the norm,
I'd definitely want to. I think that'd be cool. That'd be kind of epic.
that is something interesting to talk about because we do think of like the aspect of what if this was the norm and what currently is the norm is not.
If people had tails, it would be weird to think about not having a tail.
Yeah, if tails currently aren't the norm, and so it's weird to think about. Okay, well, if it was the norm, yeah, but no, I definitely would. I would still go for a practical tail rather than aesthetically pleasing. But I do find like a Nightcrawler lizard type tail. Pronged lizard type tail, that I think looks cool. So to me, that is aesthetically pleasing.
No, I mean,
monkey tails, no, they're not aesthetically pleasing in the slightest. They're just brown strings with fur.
Not good.
I'd like a fluffy
I wonder
one,
if,
like a
I wonder
cat
if
one or
you could do like the
something,
cheetah tail. You know how like they sort of rotate
cheetah tail.
Yeah, you know how cheetahs like. I'm pretty sure there's. I'm not sure if it's true, but like when they're chasing a gazelle or something, they'll like rotate their tail to like counteract inertia.
Oh, something like that.
turn.
Yeah, I've read about
So they
that.
turn as like a
It's
counterbalance.
interesting. Yeah, but bro, my heart can't take running. I can't do that. No, I think if you could get some kind of mix of like a cool looking fluffy epic tail that still you can hang from, I think that'd be nice. Maybe not pull yourself up with, but kind of
Can you like train it like a limb? Yeah.
I don't know, dude. I don't have
Can you get a rip tail?
Oh, well, that's what I'm saying. I wouldn't have a monkey tail if I couldn't train it like a limb.
No,
if I
no,
could
if I could train it like a
Yeah,
limb.
but I mean, there's nothing.
do you mean
inherent-
like
yeah, because there's
train
nothing.
as in like muscle build it.
Yeah, because I mean, there's nothing inherently. I mean, I'm not a
jacked tail, just like,
so flick
you're like-
your tail,
just like
imagine.
that would get you the girls. Just go out to a girl like, "Hey, babe," and just like flex your tail and
Just
just
imagine
got muscles
never having to
bulging
like,
out of it.
But what I meant was train it to be practical, like, because I'm not a biologist, so there probably is, but I don't understand like why one tail would be. Besides the fact that animals just
It would
use
be
it.
bones.
Yeah, but great, but like,
Cats'
let me
tails
set
are
the
very
scene,
weak.
right? Let me set the scene.
It's
Imagine,
not the fact that they just don't use it, but it's just
But
they're
like,
weaker than a monkey's tail.
In theory, could you have a cat that just like flexes its tail so hard that it can like do monkey things?
I doubt it, but
cat's
I'm
tail is
not-
mostly fluff. There's really not a lot of meat or muscle.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying, can you train it? Can you make it
I don't
beefy?
know. I've never thought about it.
When you get a biologist,
If humans had tails, hopefully, because imagine that
Okay,
you're like
I'm
sitting.
doing little weights for my cat, and I'll just do like exercises with its tail.
Yeah. Can you like do animal experience?
Hopefully, you could like.
Oh, that's
train
what I was
your
gonna
own
ask,
human
'cause,
tail.
like,
let me finish my
Yeah,
story. Imagine you're like
yeah.
at your computer, right, and someone comes in the big, and you just whoosh, you flick them with your tail as they get too close. Oh, good.
That's why I want that reptile one.
Yeah.
You could especially if you look up what is his name?
Nightcrawler.
Nightcrawler. He's got a point at the end of it with like it's a flat, almost triangle. You could slap someone with it, or if you genuinely wanted to hurt them, you could scratch them with it.
Yeah.
You got harmless, punishment
give
and
back.
then actual assault. Yeah.
How good would that be after like a good game of tennis or something too? You just slap your friend's bum with your tail instead of getting your hands dirty. You see?
Oh, you could play tennis with your tail.
Oh, yeah.
Table tennis. I mean,
Tail tennis.
tail tennis. It's like I had the Sonic tennis game that we had. We had a Sonic tennis game, and you could play as tails, and he would like do super speedy stuff. You're gonna ask a question. Ask you a question. I actually thought of just now a good hypothetical situation.
We'll get off tails soon, but in a sense that because both me and Luke would for fur, because I mean fur feels great, but at the same time, what's your guys' opinions on wearing like actual fur? Because like I'm gonna start off and
You
say
mean like Cruella de Vil style thing, or
kinda, but like not the extent. Because I'm gonna at the risk of not alienizing vegan or like animal rights activists, killing animals for their fur is a pretty dick move. Like hunting foxes for their fur and doing that thing.
Oh, right. Okay.
So kind of more exotic.
I thought you meant killing an animal and then using
You
its
have to
fur.
kill so many foxes to make like a fur.
No, I'm talking about something that has no practical, like killing it just because it has fur.
Oh, okay.
Like there's a difference between like using like cow skin because it's also a great source of like
You use every other part of the cow.
Yeah, or sheep
Like
for
a
that matter.
fox, you'd just be killing it for the fur.
Yeah. Because like, have you guys seen a mink? Because everyone knows
I've
what
heard of
mink
minks.
furs are.
I can't-
Do you know what a mink looks like?
I've heard of mink
actually
fur or
is.
something. Yeah,
Oh.
that's right. It's like a
Pretty
ferret
cute.
looking rat thing that it's super fluffy and soft.
I don't know. I've always felt like if it's I really don't know. So for example, I don't know if someone wants this being spoken on air, so I'm not going to name them, but I know someone that's currently killing possums
Yeah.
Possums?
Yeah.
Possums. Someone's currently killing possums, and skinning them and pulling their fur out to try and I don't know, sell the fur because apparently it's semi-valuable. In bulk or whatever. You can
get
get
about $100 for a kg.
Yeah, $100 for a kg of fur. Possums are just
Possums
they
are
have no use. They're a pest.
I think that's fine.
They're a pest. No one. Yeah, I'm always conflicted on this type of topic.
It's the same. It's like killing an animal for its fur only is the same as killing an elephant for its ivory. If you know what I mean.
Yes,
I'd say that's
true.
comparable.
I guess I'm very picky then. Like I love.
Depends on the animal.
It depends on the animal, and that's purely just me being.
If it's
picky is not the word I'm
pest
thinking
control,
of.
they find if there's an overpopulation of foxes, going back to your example,
You
in a
need to
particular
cull it.
area, and it needs to be culled, and that's you're not poaching, and it's literally this is globally or not globally, internationally a pest now. Yeah,
because if you hunt, I'm going to go out on a limb and say if you hunt and like kill endangered animals, you're kind of a dick.
Yeah,
Dude, talking of endangered animals, koalas are now endangered.
Really? Is that
And
what
they're on the verge
of extinction?
They're on the verge of
irreversible
functional
or
extinction.
whatever it is. Yeah.
Wow.
Functional extinction means there's not enough of them to breed back into healthy existence.
Yeah,
So once they're at functional extinction, they'll be around for like 5 to 10 years.
So
and
how
after
do they
that, they're gone.
How do they distinguish that between like endangered species? Then I mean, none of us
So
are.
they would calculate the breeding rate of animals.
Gotcha.
And they were like, okay, so
totally.
a pair of koalas make one baby in 2 years. I'm making that particular stat up, but let's say they say that and they go, okay, we've got this amount of koalas left. That's not a good ratio. We're going to lose our koalas. But yeah, they're currently endangered, close to going functionally extinct, and I'm just like, and because of the fires in Australia, and I'm like, wow, that's
hard.
Because I'm surprised that happened because like a lot of Australia burned, but a lot of it didn't.
A lot of Australia burned.
Yeah, a lot of it burned, but a lot of it didn't. Like
Bear in mind, though,
more of
koalas-
Australia didn't burn. So what I'm surprised is that I guess koalas are closer to
only eat eucalyptus, and they live exclusively in eucalyptus.
yeah. The area that got burnt is a big.
eucalyptus.
The main area of fire in Australia is a very big.
Yeah, I'm just surprised that
population of koalas.
I'm just surprised that because more of Australia didn't get burned than did is the thing.
Are you sure about that?
Bear in mind that most of Australia is just desert wasteland anyway. Like
You're a
the
good-
koalas don't live.
I
in
do
that
forget
part.
that because I forget which part of Australia is like covered by forest.
East
See, maybe if
Coast.
you're talking about the forest, maybe it is true that more of the Australian forest burned than didn't. But if you're talking about land, it's certainly true.
Of course.
It's certainly true that
Australia's flipping huge.
Yeah,
Ginormous.
it's like
Yeah, a lot of the
bigger
forest
than
burning.
Europe,
Bear in
right?
mind, a big portion of Australia is just red sand.
I forget about that.
Horrible. Yeah.
That sucks. Koalas
I know
are
it's
pretty neat.
awful.
No,
It really does
koalas
suck.
are amazing, and
Super
They
koalas.
stink, but
you don't think of
they're cool
koalas
bears.
as a endangered species.
Yeah, I think it's because we're
as
just
far as
so-
I've been alive, tigers have slowly gotten more and more endangered. But since I've been born, they've always been endangered.
Yeah.
Right? Koalas are everywhere in Australia. You got koalas all over the place, and now they're endangered. And it's like, wow.
Actually, if you told me I'd make kookaburras going out, I'd be like, no.
Yeah. I love kookaburras, man.
Kookaburras are pretty neat.
Flipping strange looking birds.
Oh, I love kingfishers, and kookaburras are a type of
Are they the
kingfisher.
little tiny ones? Kingfishers?
No, kingfishers are quite big.
What was your hypothetical? by the way?
Kingfishers are a kookaburra, but
Oh.
we have a New Zealand kingfisher. Imagine a kookaburra with a slightly smaller beak, though.
Ah.
That's a
Oh,
kingfisher.
okay.
I love kingfishers are my favorite bird, and a kookaburra is an Australian kingfisher, and it's my favorite type of kingfisher.
I like owls.
Okay,
Owls
my
are
hypothetical
good.
is the world's coming to an end, right?
Yep.
Some form of apocalypse is coming,
Okay.
right?
I have
And-
all the spoons.
Yeah. And we've got quite a few years to prepare for humanity to continue, and science has shown that we have two options, and either one is viable.
Alright.
We can go underwater and build a livable
Jar Jar
life
Binks
underwater.
Gungan style thing.
So both, or we can go up into space, and they've found a planet that can, or the moon, or not the moon. The moon's too small, but they've found a planet, where we can build
That's
a base.
habitable.
both versions, we can't just live underwater or in space, obviously. We both have to live inside, like, domes or whatever.
Yeah, until we finish...
Until we find a suitable planet where we can live outside. But science has shown that they're like, both of these options are just as viable as the other. It is up to you to decide which one we go with.
I'm a real big fan of Bioshock, so I think I'd go underwater.
You'd go underwater?
Yeah. It's just so cool. Also, like deep water is, like, spooky and neat. And so you don't like your horror movies, but I do.
No, but particularly deep
Have you
water.
played
Deep water in general has nothing to do with horror. I do not like deep water. It's
Yeah. Have you played Subnautica?
No, I know you play a lot of Subnautica, Luke.
I've finished Subnautica.
No
Actually, there's a new Subnautica game coming out soon.
Oh, is there? What's it called? Is it like Subnautica 2 or?
No, it's called like...
What's it called?
We'll come back to the thing because I won't answer the questions, but it's like Deep Freeze or something. It's more of an icy theme.
Oh, that's
Subnautica
cool.
thing, which is more. It's set after the original game, so the planet now has more people on it, and they're doing like study and whatnot. I've watched a little bit, but the first Subnautica game is it's the last game I can remember like staying up till stupid hours in the morning playing a single player game. I loved Subnautica. Epic game.
I really want to get my diving license and then like go diving and breathe.
I've always wanted to try go diving and use like a proper scuba or
I love
PA,
the
or
water.
whatever they call it.
Yeah.
I like the water too. I love water in general.
Just like don't be under it too far.
No.
Let me just say though.
Do not get me out. I do not like sea creatures. We have some scary sea creatures.
Freaky stuff under
I'm
the
not saying I'm particularly fond of them. I just think they're neat though.
See, I would much rather go into space. I want to go into space in general. So if I had this option,
you
going
wanted
back
to be an astronaut, didn't you?
I would love
Ages
to be
ago.
yes, I would love to be an astronaut. Not now. I'm actually quite happy at the moment, but
Yeah.
but yeah, I would love to go to space. And so going back to my hypothetical situation, I would definitely choose we go live on a planet, domes in space. And
I think so.
in my opinion, they're both just as
Enjoy
dangerous
that
as the
space,
other.
Yeah.
Yeah, but see, I know what spooky thing that I go into. You get like that Doctor Who episode where you're in like a pod and there's a knock on the door outside.
Nah, but that wouldn't.
No,
You
but
don't know. You don't know, and the
But
fear
if
of the
you're-
unknown.
If you're deep underwater though, there is immense pressure. If that thing springs a leak, you're cooked.
Yeah, and there's no atmosphere.
It's going to be a lot harder to, if there is a catastrophic malfunction, I think underwater is a lot more fried than...
No,
listen, if if something
the oxygen
structurally
generators
breaks,
go down, you're buggered.
you're buggered either way. If underwater, if
At least it's a quick death. The oxygen, that's the thing.
No, but
It's a quick. See, I would
underwater
rather.
would be worse because of structural. There's no pressure in outer space. You're not in a vacuum.
Yeah, but there's plenty of things that
Obviously,
can go wrong.
you can terraform an entire planet to become habitable. But underwater, if there's a structural malfunction, it's going to cause a catastrophic failure and everything's going to
But he
break.
said they're equally as viable, so that's the thing. So if they're equally
So,
as viable, that means that things are going
let's say
wrong at
scientists
the equal
have,
rate.
yeah,
right?
scientists have.
It's dark underwater, okay? there's probably
It's dark up in space. What are you on about?
Someone has
It's a
big
sun
soup for
somewhere.
breakfast.
Whatever. I don't like underwater. Look, bro, like I said,
so
I've
you're
played
choosing
Subnautica. That stuff's scary, bro.
Oh, you're choosing
Absolutely.
space, Luke. Oh, okay,
Space,
cool.
100%,
I'm with you
100%
here. I just
And
and
another
purely
life, I would've
because
been a
I
rocket
find
scientist.
underwater scary. Deep
Underwater's
underwater,
freaky.
it's just freaky.
I've done some research on the marionette, the 11 kilometer deep
Marionette is a puppet, I believe.
I know. The really deep trench somewhere.
Oh,
And trust
I
me,
know what
like
you're
I said,
talking
I've played Subnautica.
I'm looking forward to titling this podcast. In terms of like the episodes.
Oh, we should title this one, I think,
Surely,
simply
like-
as hypothetical situation.
Surely, like clickbait
Yeah, but like
titles.
poor-
He said what? Hypothetical edition.
I like poor history. Poor history.
Ooh, actually,
hypothetical.
Oh, you do like
History, can I-
hypothetical situations and then in parenthesis,
Yeah.
you know, did Christopher Columbus go to Mars or something?
Was Christopher Columbus Elon Musk in a past life?
Yeah.
Wait, can I hit you guys with just a question in general? Did you ever listen to or enjoy the horrible histories or
Yeah.
horrible science?
We
Was
never.
that
we
was
read
that a
them.
New Zealand thing?
No,
I think it's Australian. I think it's
Either way,
I think it's-
there was
I
this
thought it was
thing-
just a.
It's called Horrible Histories or Horrible Science, and it was like designed for kids to like learn about obviously history or science in such a way that's like supposedly using like child humor, you know, like it's supposedly funny for children and stuff. I hated it.
written by Terry Derry.
Oh, good old mate Terry Derry. He's still kicking.
Shout out
us.
to Derry.
Yeah.
Contact us if you want to sponsor this podcast.
Yeah. Man, as I'm about to
Yeah,
say,
he's
I
still
never
kicking.
liked
He's
to work,
74.
but oh my man,
He's
yes,
he's a UK guy, so maybe UK. That's probably why, because UK, Aussie, and New Zealand get a lot of the same influences.
Well, either way, if you know, you know. But they freaked me out.
I really
you don't
liked them.
like
I had the
them?
magazines. I had the
Wait,
Global Science magazines.
What did you do? You watched them?
I think I listened to them.
Oh, okay. We read them. We just had the books,
Okay.
and so the
Like, we
books
just
had
had the audio. Oh,
good like
jeez.
pictures and stuff. Sorry about those noises. So yeah,
You're on a new computer that was recording this, and we can't really.
someone's getting messages and that's
Freaking
okay.
out. Oh,
You can probably close WhatsApp from here though.
It's okay.
That's okay. Like I said in the first episode, we're not experts at all.
Far from it.
It'll get better if as time goes on, and if you want to stick around.
We'll get better.
Faster, stronger. Make it better.
Toyota.
Okay, just because we're on the topic of space or water, it sparked and it reminded me of some board games. There's a board game called Terraforming Mars. It's a very popular board game. It's in the top 100.
There's a game that's just come out.
I believe it's in
colonizing Mars. Or
I believe it's in the top 10 actually. Terraforming Mars, and then a game came out recently, either 2018 or 2019, called Underwater Cities, which is basically, from what I've heard, I haven't played either game, but Underwater Cities is basically Terraforming Mars, but underwater, obviously. Same game. Just in general, which of those two themes, so you don't have to live it, obviously, but which of those two themes interest you more?
Water. Yeah, I'm big. I like water things.
See, interestingly enough, if it was a real life situation, like I said, I'd go to space. But as a theme, the underwater theme hits me more as interesting.
Mars is just kind of boring to me at the moment. I mean, like, it in terms of real life applications and what we can do within science, I suppose it's kind of interesting. But then again, I'm a pure math kind of guy. I'm not really like applied math, but engineers. So to me, I don't know. Just there's a lot to do on this planet still. And I don't think it's time to
leave. No.
Yeah.
No, definitely not.
No.
I mean, I'm very uneducated on the subject, so I mean, I could be completely wrong, but
I've always been like super interested in like space travel or just space in general, because I always like you, I'd love to go to space if given the opportunity. But I was doing some research the other day, and the effects that like no gravity and outer space have on the human body, I was kind of just like, ooh, that's kind of freaky.
Yeah.
Because you
does
lose
bone density.
Yeah,
like,
you
just
lose
like,
bone. You basically get osteoporosis and all that kind of stuff because your bones, they lose their strength and whatnot because you're not using them. And I was just like, like you do get taller in space. I don't.
Yeah, because your spine decompresses, doesn't it? And then when you get back, you kind of shrink.
I think it's something to do with it. You need to be in decompression for quite a while, I think, after coming back from a space mission. And I'm just like, that just sounds like something I don't want to.
My favorite thing is
it does sound like something that a lot could go wrong with.
Yeah.
One of the peak comedy is like interviewing astronauts who've just come back and they're just like putting things in the air and like dropping them on the ground because they're just.
Hang on. However, let me counterate that as well. I've because like I said last time, I study paramedicine and whatnot. I've recently done a whole bunch of papers on scuba diving emergencies, like decompression sickness, the bends, if you will, that kind of stuff. And even that too, the whole complicated stuff about having to decompress every 10 meters or whatever, or make sure you balance right, or else you're going to get nitrogen bubbles and this, that, and the next thing. I was like, I don't really want to flip around with that either. You know? Like, it's super interesting.
Paramedicine's funny because it just doesn't sound real.
Paramedicine. Sounds like you're parachuting in applied medicine.
No, I googled it. The other day. I was like, why is a paramedic a paramedic? Because you have a parachute and a paraglider. And
is it like a Greek word that means like save or something?
From what I could tell from my quick Google search, it was basically back in World War whatever it was. They had medics who would parachute in.
Oh,
which was a paramedic.
Oh, really?
And essentially, it's just derived now to the fact of. The first on scene, essentially, parachute in.
The one that comes in quickly.
Yeah, the parachutes. The medics would fly in and parachute down to the patients, so they were paramedics.
That is interesting.
Always
I think
have
the
at
word
least one
just-
neat language fact.
Yes, that is definitely what we planned for this podcast. When we made this podcast, I said to Ethan,
Language.
We need to put in every episode one bit of language.
One language plan. Yeah. From what I understand about the word, it comes from from essentially the medics would parachute in, and then now paramedics today, they're on ambulances. The parachute is now the ambulance.
I find that really
first on the scene
interesting.
sort of thing. To my don't quote me, but that's
I
what
hope that's true.
that's
neat.
what
That's
my
awesome, yeah.
little Google
I
search
researched
of
that myself.
my curiosity.
Oh, did you guys
That
ever watch the
yielded.
show MASH?
No.
Oh, the helicopter one. I only know.
It did have a helicopter
I
in
only,
the
I,
intro.
only, I only know about. Sorry, I say that because I went for a flight in a Bell 47 helicopter, I think, and my dad was like, "Oh, this is the one they use in MASH." So I'm
Oh,
just,
okay. In
I
the,
haven't
in
seen
the
MASH.
intro, yeah, there's
He
a
watches
helicopter.
MASH.
So
but-
MASH stands for it stands for something surgical hospital.
Oh, don't know if
Something
it-
Army Surgical Hospital.
Message-
Mobile? Maybe
yeah,
mobile
probably
mobile Army Surgical Hospital. And it's about a group of characters that are all nurses and doctors and surgeons and that sort of stuff in this army camp that's a surgical hospital.
I
and
love hospital
and
dramas.
people get it's a hospital drama, but in World War One or Two, whichever one it is.
You know, I'm a big fan
Um,
of hospital. I'm a big fan of House MD. It's a fun show.
Yeah.
Have you seen
Is
House?
it a wait, what did you say? Medical dramas?
Yeah.
You didn't say medical comedies. Yeah, so this is a medical comedy. It's a comedy. It's like Hogan's Heroes.
I think it's
but,
funny.
Oh,
I don't
Hogan's
think it's
Heroes
funny.
is good.
I remember Gilligan's
Hogan's
Island.
Heroes.
Gilligan's Island was
Oh,
good.
I just remember the one scene from Gilligan's Island,
Where
like
he
the
kisses
first
the ground.
episode. He's like, "I'm so happy I can kiss the ground.
It's like mwah.
This island tastes terrible." I just remember that one part.
Gilligan's Island was a good show. Yeah.
It's very, very long since I've seen.
I
that show.
watched because you watched a lot of like the not ye olde time shows, but compared to like the Flash and Arrow nowadays, like Hogan's Heroes, Gilligan's Island,
Get Smart.
I was about to say Get Smart. That was a good one. I was under the false
Dan's a
impression.
boomer.
I was under the false
No.
impression that the Steve Carell movie
Was an original.
was an original, but no, I was wrong.
Have you seen I'll explain my thought process. You said Steve Carell, which reminds me of Ben Stiller because they kind of look the same, but
Ben
not really.
Stiller, I know the name,
But yeah, Tropic Thunder. Let's talk about that movie. It's great.
I haven't seen
I haven't
it.
seen
Really
it.
can't talk about it.
It's really good. Really, you both haven't seen it?
No, we can't talk about it. So
yeah, so done.
Move
what
on.
about what about Bud Spencer and
Bastards.
Terrence Hill? Like
I did watch one. I watched.
They Call Me Trinity.
They Call Me Trinity.
They did a lot of Western stuff, but there was a lot of like Crime Busters was an excellent one.
Crime dramas are good as well.
There was a
Big
couple
fan.
other ones. I remember there was a pirate that would go around stomping on people's feet, going Zackatu. That was the thing. Of
I've
that
only
movie.
seen They Call Me Trinity, but that was a brilliant movie. I loved
Fact
that
about
movie.
that movie, there's a scene in there where he goes into this, like one of the first scenes of the movie. He goes into this not saloon, but where did people stay back at
To drink?
Like an
I just
inn
stay. They
drinking
sometimes stay
kind
at
of-
the saloon, but maybe
Either
just
way,
a
he went,
hotel.
he went in a
general.
place. It's a Western movie, and he goes in and they bring him some food, and it's like a big cast iron pan full of beans.
Oh
and
yeah,
he goes, they give him a little bit, and he goes more, and they eventually just leave him the whole pan. He eats the whole thing in like a very short space of time. And what I know about that scene is the actor Terrence Hill, he didn't eat for like 3 days.
Oh, and he actually ate
Yeah,
everything they
actually
gave
ate
him.
everything in one
Wow.
go. That was how that scene was done. If you've seen the movie, there's a bit of trivia for you, but if you don't, it's a
Why-
nice old and
It could
western
have been
movie. It's pretty
so
good.
much simpler to film
I know.
it out. You didn't. Yeah.
Times were different back then, Daniel. Times were
It's called
different.
dedication to the craft or something.
Yeah.
No, I'm actually really one trend I like about movies nowadays. I'm not a huge movie buff, but I like the way they're getting longer because I never liked movies because I don't think you can tell a very good story in 90 minutes.
We were looking this up the
It
other
came out
day.
in
actually.
1970, so there you go.
Let me look it up again. It'll be in my history somewhere.
Because I remember I made you that graph when we were arguing about the average time of movies because you're like, it's not 90 minutes. And I'm like, historically it is.
Yeah, that's right. I remember you being wrong.
I just don't like movies
liar.
because of how long they are. I think they're
No,
better
I
longer,
do
but
remember.
it's
I do
annoying.
remember at the time the move. Yeah,
Yeah, no, if you take in aggregate, since like all movies, I'm pretty sure the average time is like 88 minutes or something, or 92 minutes. It's like around that.
yeah. You look at the average, the median running time of the top 100 U.S. grossing movies. So nowadays, when was this article written? That was 2015. Okay, get out of here. Never mind. Ignore me. But yeah, no. I look. We were discussing this in the car one time.
Imagine
Me and my
sourcing
sister,
sources.
and we were talking about it. And I looked it up, and I did find it interesting. You've got back in the era when kind of, Jane Austen.
Yeah.
When her style of movies were popular and westerns were popular, kind of at the same time, movie lengths were long because westerns are long.
Yeah.
And those type of movies are long. You go like 3 hours or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Then it kind of dropped down, and then especially when we got to our stereotypical animated movies and your stereotypical action movies, where you kind of got down to about an hour and a half, and now we are kind of going back up to 2 hours or whatever. Two and a half even is probably what I would say would be for your big movies. 2.5 I'd say would be your average.
Yeah. I'd probably go close to 2 because
2
2:15.
But 2.5, and then even you're seeing a lot more frequently people pushing their movies to 3.
Yeah,
so Avengers Endgame was pushed to 3. Rise of Skywalker, the latest Star Wars movie, was almost going to be pushed to 3. It wasn't in the end, but they were almost going to push it to 3.
I think it kind of makes sense as well from like a business point of view as well. Because if I'm going to watch a long movie and I know it's going to be long, I want to go experience the whole thing in the cinemas.
I suppose that's true.
It draws more people in there. DVDs are also kind of dying.
Yeah.
So
with digital media.
Exactly, the digital media dying, which I don't think it's too much of a problem, but it makes sense to me that with a bigger file and stuff, why make 1 million copies of it on DVD and have to spend more money on CDs and stuff when you can just put it on Disney Plus now?
Yeah.
Or Netflix or whatever, and then people rather than have to. I think it just makes more sense that bigger movies are coming back due to.
I suppose you're probably right that it
was
like a sort of the catalyst for when DVDs sort of started coming out, because you're right in the fact that most westerns and everything
movies,
were in the cinema and they were on those big spools, and you didn't really have to where then they suddenly had movies and they were being sold to the public, and you only had so much you could stick on a DVD.
Exactly.
And you only said so
I
much
think
you
that
could
would
stick
have
on a
been
Blu-ray.
restricted by that as well. And
Yeah, that's probably
as
true.
technology got better, and then as we moved more towards online media and stuff, I think bigger movies are just more relevant and much more doable again.
Well, I also think you've got to match yours. I don't think every movie should be 3 hours.
No,
but
I like.
I think most stories I'm interested in are around at least 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
But you can have good short stories. They're very good.
Exactly.
And the thing with television shows as well, Game of Thrones is an hour long, The Witcher is an hour long episodes.
Yeah.
It's becoming a lot longer. You're getting these longer episodes telling more complete.
Which I dislike, to be honest. I prefer nice sort of one-shot 20-minute episodes, and then have 20 of those. Like
I kind of like
Star Wars,
halfway.
the Clone Wars, for example.
If it's animated, I definitely prefer 20-minute episodes. I do not want to sit through.
Actually, I guess it depends.
I do not want to sit through a 45-minute animated episode.
Oh, neither.
I'd rather sit through 3 20-minute episodes.
Yeah. If I'm watching an action show like The Flash, Arrow, Legends of Tomorrow, shut up, something Marvel, Agents of Carter, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
Those are a good 40-minute length. If it's something like Parks and Rec or Community or Friends or something like that, then I want a nice 20-minute kind of.
Yeah, the more comedic it is, I definitely want it to be
The more serious, the longer, the more comedic, the shorter.
But I do agree. I prefer definitely kind of the 45-minute range.
Oh, that's too long. I say a nice 30 would be a good overall.
I like around 55 to an hour, like an actual.
What about Sherlock? But then that only had about 4. They were about an hour and a half.
Yeah, because they were each movie.
But then they're only about 4 episodes per season.
Don't even get me started on season 4.
Oh,
why? What's wrong with it?
Everything.
No, I loved it. My favorite.
It's fun to watch. It's just technically at a technical level in terms of continuity with the rest of the season. It's an elimination.
Okay.
There's things like that. Like if you enjoy it piece by piece as an episode.
Okay, continue. Continue.
See, the problem with that show was partially season 4 more than the rest of them. They didn't stand on their own.
Yeah.
Like you had to have seen past sort of seasons.
Okay. But a lot of shows are like that now.
Yeah. I mean, but I guess it depends. I think I've seen criticism because Sherlock was never like that. The books you could always just pick up one and you could read it, and it was a complete own story.
Okay. Yeah.
A lot of Sherlock stuff they're meant to be one shots. They were never. I mean, the whole sort of Moriarty. He was. I think the original Arthur Conan Doyle.
Arthur Conan Doyle. Yeah.
Like his books, I don't think he was like an overarching villain, and that was kind of something we did with TV shows and movies.
He was.
I think he was a movie.
From memory. No, from memory, He was definitely in the
Oh
books.
yeah, no, I'm saying he's in the books. I just don't think he's like this big narrative villain because it's
No, he was a
just
villain
what
that
they
popped up
created.
all the time,
Yeah.
but he wasn't like behind everything like he is in most of the
Yeah.
movies and books and shows we get.
Yeah, and I think that was the big problem with that show was it kind of like there's some grand master behind everything who's been pulling the shows, and you couldn't sort of just have like a simple.
Yeah, but then
I really like Elementary, the American take on the Sherlock Jones.
Oh yeah, I know that one.
It's not for everyone, but I really enjoyed it because every episode was kind of like it was just 40 minutes of Sherlock and Holmes fun.
Yeah.
I'm a big into those types of show. Like, have you seen Dexter? Either of you?
No, but I've
Good show.
I was
What were
recommended.
you going to
Dexter.
say, Liv?
I was just gonna say that's a different perspective for you. Who you've read lots of Sherlock books.
I've read a few.
You know, well, at least you've got more of a historical point of view of Sherlock. So you're comparing the TV show, the Benedict Cumberbatch, excuse me, TV show now, more so to that, and kind of going, it's not the same. Whereas me, I haven't read the books. I know a lot about Sherlock and stuff too, but I don't really hold it to, what it originally was. I see it as a different interpretation of Sherlock.
I mean,
So
there's also
I'm not saying either of us are right or wrong because there is an original, and some people. I'm not saying it's a bad thing either. Some people are more like take Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit, for example, when the people get upset that it's not the same as the book.
Right. Yeah.
Like I reckon that's fine, but then I counteract as me as a person to just say, hey, just enjoy this adaptation or this interpretation of J.R.R. Tolkien's original work.
But I don't read books in general, so like I don't have a big thing on this. I'm starting to listen to books more, but yeah. So
Always looking for sponsorship Audible, by the way, if you hear this.
With Dune, I watched the old Dune movie first, and I thought, hey, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then I went on from there quite a few years after watching it, but I went on and I was like, you know what? I actually enjoyed that movie. Let me, listen to the book, actually, get the full story. And you get a lot more in the book. And I'm like, this doesn't degrade the movie, in my opinion. It just makes it go, wow, there's so much more here.
Yeah.
And it makes me, I'm very excited for the new movie coming out this year, sometime in November. And I'm sure they'll do stuff where I go, well, I wish they didn't do that. And like they'll miss stuff out. But I'm sure it will still be a great movie.
I always find, I was always trained to read the book before the movie, which I think is fine.
Trained.
But shut up, Mum.
Put in an arena.
I wasn't allowed to watch flipping Lord of the Rings, so I finished the book. No, honestly, though, I think if you watch the movie, if you read the book first and then watch the movie, you're just going to be judging the movie and kind of going, oh, this kind of stinks. The book's way better. But if you watch the movie first and then you read the book, it's kind of like, oh, okay, I can see what they were doing, but the book gives you a lot more story.
I've heard that one of the critiques for that and sort of watching the movie before the book is that it colors the book.
Yeah,
it strips you of your imagination, which isn't a problem of Dan because that's one thing
true,
why
actually,
he doesn't.
I forget that. I really like
that's why I don't like reading books myself. Yes, because I just see words on a paper. I don't get immersed into the story. What?
Do you have an inner monologue?
An inner monologue?
Yeah, can you hear yourself think?
Oh yes.
Okay. So
what do you mean?
because there's some people, some people don't have an inner monologue. Like they don't like hear words in their head when they like. So
I get very.
I don't know. I'm doing it now, but that's because we're talking about it. I don't know if my normal thoughts appear as.
I have conversations with myself in my head all the time. I get very immersed if I'm reading a book as well. Like sometimes I'll like blink a few times and be like, oh, I've lost the immersion. Like back in my bedroom, but other times I'm like really there.
Like if I'm having an argument if I'm having an argument with Luke in my head, like Luke sounds like Luke.
Yeah.
And like you can hear voice. There's people who can't like they don't have that type of like.
Okay, no, I definitely do that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was just wondering if that was like a thing because it's very hard to explain because it's such a subjective experience where you don't really dream or
although I did have a sad dream. I mentioned having a dream before, but I didn't actually go into it. And it's honestly I won't go into the sad part, but I'll go into it was the most
hyper realistic.
Yeah, kind of. So in the dream, I got shot in the rib cage.
Yeah. Oh, and the bullet time.
And the bullet got. I've been shot before, but it was dreamlike shot. I didn't really feel that much. The bullet got wedged into my between my ribs, and this feeling here. If I push like that, that's what I felt, and I was feeling that for the rest of the dream, that. And I was like, man, this feels so real. Like, as in, if I'm doing this, if I push hard into my ribcage, that's what I felt, and it's like the exact feeling. Whereas in other times when I've been shot or or had my arms cut off, it's like I feel.
Bro, what happens to you in your dreams, bro? What the hell?
Not
That's
often.
tame.
But tame for you. But
Yeah, that's true.
it hasn't been a realistic feeling. It's just been like a kind of.
I once had a
something
dream.
my brain
where
makes
I,
up.
I once had a dream where I would have been like, I don't know, 15, 14 at the time. And the entire dream just consisted of me getting in the car and my mother going shopping. And I was just kind of like, I had nothing to do in the car. And then I woke up. I was just angry. Like, there's just nothing to do in the dream.
Angry that you got left in the car.
It was just like, it's a dream. And like, what a mundane dream at that.
Do you want to talk about dreams and stuff a little bit?
In a moment, because I had a question I wanted to ask.
Hypothetical
This is just, no, this is
Just a
sadly
question.
not. This is just going back to the Sherlock thing very quickly. A lot of the critique is also about Moffat as a showrunner, Stephen Moffat.
Oh,
Because a lot of people also have like the same problem with
like a lot of.
because a lot of people have a problem with Doctor Who when Moffat has they like his episodes. Like I really like Blink was really good.
Mm-hmm.
When he wrote single episodes, he was very good at Doctor Who. But when he became showrunner, that's kind of what people mark as the fall or the decline of the quality of Doctor Who for some
Well,
people.
like I've said before to you guys, like I think Clara.
Jodie Whittaker.
Huh?
Sorry, I was just coughing there.
No, I could have sworn I heard something.
I really like Jodie Whittaker. I just don't like the guy who writes for her.
Same. I really like Clara, but just her writing was just her episodes and the writing for her was just not that good.
See,
I really like the character, but I just don't like the way she was done. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. See,
just
I
don't
also
think she was
find
written well.
I think with Doctor Who, I really like history episodes, which is really funny for someone who's horrible at history. No, but like more. I guess I've always liked fantasy more than sci-fi though.
Daniel has confiscated so much stuff from me.
These two boys, they twitch a lot. So we're currently this episode and last episode we're in the same room. We're recording together. We won't be every time, but we've got the opportunity now, so we're doing it. And these two are just twitching all the time, like fiddling with pens and stuff. So I've been confiscating it and making a pile behind me. There is a key on a key ring. There is a pocket knife. There's a pig. There's a pen, and there's a vape juice thing.
And I'm like almost upside down on my chair.
Yeah.
I can't sit still.
Both me and you are like autistic.
Yeah, if you keep hearing bumps on the table, like that's
It's
probably
because Luke's got his feet
adjusting
up
and
on the
kicking
table.
Sorry.
No, it doesn't bother me. It's just
I
yeah.
can't sit still.
It's a big struggle.
No, see,
So, but
the thing is, I've only heard about people complaining about Moffat since Jodie Whittaker's Doctor.
Really?
That's only- I'm sure people have.
Tear it apart.
I'm sure people have.
Misogynists.
But I only hear it as a defense for Jodie Whittaker's showrunner. So what I mean is as like someone will be like, I'm really not enjoying the show running of this season. You know, the showrunner.
But they'd be like, Moffat was bad too.
And then someone will respond to that like, well, at least it's not Moffat. And I'll be like, what? Did people not like Moffat?
Is it Russell? It's not Russell T.
Russell T. Davis?
Is it not? It's not Russell T.
Oh, currently? No.
It's
Someone else completely.
Before Moffat, wasn't it?
Yeah, Russell T. was a showrunner before Matt.
Yes, you're right.
Moffat.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I mean, he just has a different vision of what Doctor Who is.
I made a joke, coughing out Jodie Whittaker, but that to me is the fall of Doctor Who. I enjoyed Moffat, I enjoyed Davis, I enjoyed. When did Moffat leave?
Moffat it was Jodie Whittaker's first season.
I thought it was before
11.
Capaldi.
No. He ran
Okay,
Capaldi.
I enjoyed Capaldi's run. I enjoyed.
I think Capaldi was.
I enjoyed everything Moffat did and Russell T Davis did. It's only, and yes, I don't blame Jodie Whittaker. I don't like her Doctor, but more than that, I don't like the showrunners'
take on Doctor
Who.
I don't like the same for me. Like, I never actually watched the new season of Doctor Who. It's not big. I mean, I stopped after like the second season.
You stopped at like the
second season of Capaldi.
Yeah.
I think I watched the first 2 seasons of Capaldi. I didn't stop because I was like, ooh, there's a girl doctor. I'm not a raging misogynist or anything like that. But
That's just exactly what a raging misogynist would say, Lucas.
I just started to lose interest in the show mainly because of the writing of it. It was just like
The companions are really not that interesting this time.
yeah.
Jodie Whittaker's companion?
Yeah.
That Bill chick, was she Capaldi?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she was
annoying.
Capaldi's.
I didn't watch her season. I saw a couple of episodes and I was just like, you're kind of just
Yeah,
annoying.
I get that though, because she's kind of, God, love.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure like her
Governor.
actor did a very good job playing the character, but I didn't like the character.
Was she British?
Yeah, she was.
She was very British. And
She
not to
was
be
like
racist, but
Chad British.
it's that annoying British accent that I just struggle to understand.
Yeah.
I just like her kudos to her actor where kudos to you. She did well, but
Yeah,
like,
I mean, she was a great actor.
Well, that's the thing with most people, right? I'm sure, a lot of times I can point out times where I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's bad acting there.
yeah,
But a lot of other times you can go, I'm pretty sure she's playing the character how she's told to play
and
the
it's
character.
just bad writing.
Right.
Or
I'm
it's
pretty sure
just an
Bill's
annoying character.
actress, I don't know her name, but I'm pretty sure that's what they said. You're playing this character, and she played that character and did
I
a
think
good job
she
of
did
playing
well
that
playing
character.
I just don't like that
No,
character.
I just don't
It's
like that kind of
annoying.
character.
Did I mention that? I hope Vestra comes back a bit more.
Who?
Vestra.
The lizard lady?
Yeah. I'm
Oh,
not sure
the
if I mentioned this.
lesbian lizard.
You did
Was that on the
mention that.
podcast or was that just in general? I
Don't remember.
I
but
feel-
that's
Because
okay.
I remember you saying like, I felt like she was in a lot of episodes, but she was just
And then we
in
looked it up.
5 long episodes.
No, that
I don't really
think
remember
it
what
was
we
on the
talked about last time, and I'm sure Doctor Who was brought up because I seem to remember talking about it semi-recently. So I'm fiddling with my pants now. I just
podcast.
don't
I'm not
remember.
taking those off you.
No, I'm not going to be taking those off me.
It's not that kind of podcast.
I think we should definitely one time just talk about our favourite, like not today, but another time we should talk about our favourite fandoms or whatnot.
Yeah, just
talk
fandom.
about, talk
general
about
stuff.
Star Wars because
Yeah.
we're in Star Wars. What are you're into?
Supernatural.
Like, ooh, that
I
kind
like
of stuff.
Supernatural.
Yeah.
Have you seen all of it?
Yes.
Oh, you have?
I had seen all of it up to season 11, and I think the
Yeah.
season 4.
We'll
I
save.
think
We'll
the show
save,
just
we'll
finished.
save that for another time. We're nearly at an hour 30.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a good
So-
time to wrap up. I enjoyed that. I thought it was
Only
good.
one sponsored sanitarium segment. Wow.
Yeah. Oh,
Well, we didn't have as much up and go to drink this
I didn't
time.
drink
so.
as much. I had almost like a litre of stuff last time, but
Well, I think we cleared 3 liters
Yeah.
between us, so I would assume we had a litre each.
however, if there's, I actually do quite enjoy. I enjoyed the blends version. I hadn't
Definitely
actually
the
tried
cocoa
them
and
before.
almond, much better than the banana
I
one.
wouldn't personally. I wouldn't say much better. I'd never tried either of them before, and I think after this, I would actually buy them.
15
Yeah.
seasons.
Tasty.
Yep. But
Yeah,
that's it. So thank you for listening, and thank you, Ethan, for hosting with me. And lastly, thank you, Luke, for joining us on the podcast.
Pleasure to be here.
Lucas.
Yeah, thanks for everyone for listening. And the last thing to do is say goodbye.
Yeah.
Ciao.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Factory!